It's somehow become a pretty big card for me out of nowhere. A couple of these we've kind of already hinted on as well. I am on the Pelicans, like you said. I think that there's still value on the other side in these Dallas situations. Sorry, playing in a situation on a back-to-back on the road against a desperate Pelicans team that is still fighting to try and land one of those playing spots in the West. I think this should be at least a pick. My number says that New Orleans should be favored by a half a point. I'll take the 2 points on offer here. Are you involved in this game at all, or are you staying away from it?
Yeah, I have nothing on this game. I wouldn't talk you off backing the Pelicans. I just think that this number is true. I have this as a sharp number, sharp market. We're starting to see the bookmakers adjust to Mavericks' true number. I believe I have their true number actually right where the spread is at tonight. So for those reasons, I'm going to have to pass. But yeah, I would lean the Pelicans as well.
Yeah, I think that this might be probably, if Dallas goes and drops another one outright, this will be the last time you see them sort of priced in the range that they have been these last few games. I think that's going to be kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, that we then see them priced as more of a mediocre team than an elite team, which I still think is what their numbers are showing at. Because for them to be laying 2 on the road on a back-to-back situation, yeah, I can't quite get there at all. Yeah. The other one I've got a lot of action on is in Cleveland, Miami. I bought the under on opener. It's steamed up. I've bought more. I have bought on Miami's team total under. That kind of ties back to what I was saying earlier when we were talking about the Cavs in the homework review. Against bottom 6 effective field goal percentage teams, like I said, 9-2 to the unders in opponent team totals, holding teams to an average of 95 points. 2 games against the Heat this season. They split them both, but the Heat comfortably under their team total in both of those. Even the game where they won, they only scored 100 points. And I just think, like I said, I disagree pretty strongly with the market. I make this 209 as fair price. So 215.5 for me is an auto buy. You got anything on this game that you're getting involved with, or do you see anything the other way?
No. I align with you 100%. I have this game also at 209. I have it 107 to 102 Cleveland. So, yeah, I do think that we're seeing a little bit on the over just because totals this season, we haven't seen a lot of totals below that 220 threshold. This has been an offensive-minded season, but to your point, the Heat, they're actually 9-0 to the under following a home win of less than 3 points. DeJounte Murray made that true last time out. Not only that, but they allowed way too many points last time out against the Hawks. You don't want to play that way against the Cavaliers. Cavaliers aren't going to want to play that way either with you. So, yeah, I would say overall, I think this is going to be kind of a bloodbath, slower pace, half-court offense. I do see, 209.5 is exactly where I had my number. I don't know why it moved up. But, again, I think that's a lot of public action, believing that, we're in an offensive-minded kind of a league, whereas you have to look at the team's dynamic as well. So I like the under right there with you. That is a bet as well for myself. So, yeah, we are in agreement there.
Yeah, I think I have this game. I have both teams. Let me just have a look real quick. I have both teams projected for about 89 possessions each, which is really, really low. We're talking about season average where it's almost 98. So that's probably why I come so far under. I think if your market projection is for it to be closer to sort of 93, 94 possessions, then that's probably why you end up at a number at about 215, 216. So maybe there is enough influence there buying in on that over 213. But for me, happy to buy back at current number. I'm still comfortable with the opening number, very comfortable with the Miami team total under as well. I just don't think that they match up particularly well offensively in this one. And the Cavs defense, again, shows out against a team that is pretty one-dimensional offensively. Unless those three-pointers are going for guys like Duncan Robinson, this Heat offense is just too stagnant for me. The final bet I have made, which will be an interesting one to talk about, I'm on the Clippers. I took them the -3.5. You can get -2.5 now. So bad market position for me in this one. Did consider buying more -2.5, but probably just going to respect the market a little bit here. Clippers are a tough one to read. I just don't think that for me, these two teams shouldn't be rated as equal on a neutral. I still think the Clippers should be favored, which is essentially why I grabbed them at this point. Giving Clippers about 3 for home court makes this, basically close to a pick on a neutral. I think the spot for the Raptors is really, really tough. We've seen time and time again, especially this season, East Coast teams on a West Coast road trip. It's that second game of the West Coast road trip where, the jet lag, where the fatigue, where things really sort of kick in. You couple that with the fact that it's now the first game after a game in altitude at Denver as well. It all just lines up for a really, really difficult spot, I think, for Toronto. And that is basically a large part of why I got involved here. My number makes this Clippers minus 4.4, so it's not a huge market edge necessarily. It's more just playing the spot for me. And I think that the Clippers offense should be able to score well enough against this Toronto defense, which is enough just given the fact that Toronto still struggles significantly in half court sets, I think. But I know that you see it the other way, which is great because I would love to get some pushback on this one. I've always been a Clippers victim in terms of putting way too much money on this team, way too much faith in this team, basically since they came together 2 seasons ago. It's not even just a this season thing. But tell me what you see in this Raptors-Clippers matchup.
Yeah, we're going to be on opposite sides here, but the good news is one of us will win. I have the Toronto Raptors at +4. And this was last night. We'll go ahead and talk about it. I make this number actually a pick, and I have 115 to 114 Toronto outright. The Raptors are 17-1 against the spread on the road versus non-conference opponents when they're at a rest disadvantage and coming off a road game. This applies with their game in Denver. They're also 10-0 against the spread on the road with the rest disadvantage and coming off a game where they covered the spread versus a non-conference opponent. They covered the spread in Denver. They played competitive. It was a coin flip game up until Scotty Foster threw Scotty Barnes out. Coin flip game, great game. They did play, up to their level. I think this is a team that wants to make the playoffs. I think they're going to make a push. So that's another buying point. Now let's talk about the fades on the Clippers side. So this is my back to reality theory. Teams coming off a win where they had to overcome a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter. So let's not forget the Clippers. They were actually, I think, down by 15, 14 points against the Grizzlies last time out. And facing a team they beat in a previous matchup, they're actually just 5-23 against the spread. This includes 7 straight ATS losses. And these teams, they've actually lost outright 19 times. So, and these are favorites that we're discussing. So, last point on this is my home sandwich theory. Home favorites with a rest advantage and in the middle of a homestand. They're just 1-17 against the spread when coming off a game where they allowed their opponent over their team total number. And facing an opponent off a loss as a dog who they beat in a previous matchup. So this is a spot where I just think that Toronto shows up tonight. I don't believe in the Clippers. They don't play like they want to play together. I know that, I'm not really buying on them. If anything, I'm kind of selling on them. I wanted to get aboard, but I just can't. I see a little bit more motivation and determination on the Raptors side of things. I think that this team does play well under pressure. I think that they're slept on. So for all those reasons, I'm going to go with the Toronto Raptors to win this game outright.